right, welcome back. As you can see, it still sucks outside. It's still very, very much the winter. Can't ride. So, you know what? I thought we would do something a little bit different this week to pass the time of winter, get us through. And actually, when I did my road planning, my trip planning video, I kind of showed everybody the wall behind me where I display all my trips. And like I said before, when I go on a big trip, it's become a little bit of a tradition where I find a photo that encapsulates that trip and I turn it into a canvas and it goes up on the wall. So I figured, why not go down memory lane and show you some historical video, some footage of past rides that I've done. I think that would be kind of cool. Hopefully you agree. If not, well, see ya. So hey, we're going to start at the beginning. I figured that was the best place to start is at the beginning. This one right here, this photo is from the southern tip of the continent of Africa in the country of South Africa. This was my very first international motorcycle ride, and I was lucky enough to do it with my dad. My sister actually was getting married in South Africa, and we thought, my dad and I were like, will anybody care that a motorcycle trip breaks out at a wedding? Probably not. So on the side, we decided to plan ourselves a motorcycle trip and take advantage of the fact that we were going to fly all the way to South Africa. This photo actually is taken from the southern tip of the continent of Africa, which is pretty cool. And I've been lucky to be at the southern tip of North America, South America, and Africa. So, Asia, Europe, I'm coming for you. That's actually what this photo is. This photo is South America. We'll do that one at another time. But for now, I'm going to take you through our South Africa ride, and from 2016. It's for a while ago now, and so I hope you enjoy it. We have kind of an eclectic pair of motorcycles. My dad's on a cruiser, and I ended up on an adventure bike. But we made it work. There weren't a lot of options, and we kind of had to. There was a little bit of a mix-up with the bike, so we kind of had to make do with what we had. But it was cool. So let's roll in. I'm gonna show you the footage, and then I'll probably jump in now and then and add some additional commentary. So I hope you enjoy our father-son ride to South Africa. Here we go. After a 15-hour transatlantic flight, we finally landed in Johannesburg for my sister's wedding. We had an amazing time with family and friends, but it was difficult not to look ahead to the 5 incredible days on the motorcycle looming on the horizon. With the wedding duties done, we jumped on a plane to Cape Town and picked up the bikes. The sunrise over Table Mountain in Cape Town, our first morning, was absolutely incredible, and a good sign of the things that were to come. I've had worse views to wake up to. We hit the road shortly after dawn, and our first stop was an epic one at Chapmans Peak Drive. This 5.6-mile epic drive features 114 curves and clings precariously to the cliff sides. Construction was started in 1915 using convicts as laborers, and was finally opened to the public in 1922. It remains today as one of the most spectacular coastal drives and an absolutely incredible way to kick off our South African ride. Can I just interject here for a second and say Chapman's Peak Drive is insane. You can tell from the footage that it's crazy, but it's even crazier in person. So if you ever get a chance to go to Cape Town, do not miss Chapman's Peak Drive. It is unbelievable. The views are crazy. The road is crazy. And at this point, this one thing to note, we just started this ride. We are riding on the left side of the road, on a different side of the road, and going through all these sharp turns, hanging on the edge of a cliff. Every time there's a car in the right lane coming the other direction, my brain is going, oh no, oh no, oh no, and freaking out. So the fact that luckily the traffic was pretty low that day. So that kept the panic down, but that was tough trying to kind of remember left lane, and take in these spectacular views of Chapman's Peak Road. Leaving behind Chapmans Peak, we continued south on the Cape Peninsula towards the lighthouse at the Cape of Good Hope. The views were spectacular, and we enjoyed a short break with an incredible view of Falls Bay. From here, we started back north, where we had our first and our most unexpected African wildlife encounter. Okay, I have to jump in here again and just say, while this looks nice and friendly and fuzzy, these are baboons. And a couple of them, you can see here in the section where it goes up close to the car, you can see how big some of the bigger ones are. And I certainly, all of a sudden, it was cool at first, but then the car stopped in front of me and I put my foot down and then I'm realizing, oh, there are 25 baboons running around my motorcycle.
Should I be more scared of these than riding between buffalo?
Literally one of them could jump on the back at any moment, and that's when things got a little bit nerve-wracking. So we decided to kind of keep moving, keep going, enjoy it, and probably hopefully limit the ability of a baboon to jump on my motorcycle. Those things are not very friendly, and they have giant teeth, and it was, like I said, it was cool at first, but definitely a bit unexpected, and we decided to kind of roll out of there pretty quickly. So just to keep things safe. It would be terrible to get mauled by a pack of baboons on literally your first day riding a motorcycle in South Africa. After striking an uneasy peace treaty with the baboon troop, we continued north towards Boulder Beach, which is home to the Boulder Beach penguin colony. These penguins are only found in South Africa and Namibia and are currently on the endangered species list. While their nesting areas are protected for the yearly breeding, other portions of the beach are actually open for swimming. Swimming with penguins was not on my South African bingo card, but hey, it was really fun and an awesome stop. With the daylight waning, we still had several hours of riding ahead of us to get to our Airbnb in Gansbaai. Baboons, penguins, and amazing roads slowed us down a bit, so we ended up doing the last 2 hours on our first night riding in South Africa in the dark. 1 out of 5 stars, do not recommend. But we had to get to Gansbaai because the next morning we would be doing our most adventurous activity yet, swimming with great white sharks. After a nice breakfast at Shark Cage Diving Headquarters, we headed out onto the boat with the rest of our fellow shark snacks. This area is home to several small islands that thousands of seals use as habitat. This, of course, attracts their main predator, great white sharks. After a short and smooth boat ride, we came to rest in the bay surrounded by several other tour boats. A man at the back of the boat immediately started chumming the water to attract the sharks, and then they told us to suit up and get in the cage. The chum was the appetizer, we were the main course. Yep, that's right. You heard that right. Literally, we get there and there's a dude at the back of the boat with a giant bucket and a shovel, and he is mixing up, throwing in fish guts, mixing it up, and then throwing it into the water. And then they lower this big cage over the side of the boat, and they're like, all right, well, jump in. That was, the adrenaline was pumping, let's just say, as you climb into the cage. You're all smashed into this wetsuit. You're getting into the water. It's cold, but not, thankfully, being Minnesotans, it wasn't too bad. Other people were absolutely freezing. My dad and I were just fine. But it was really like the nerves. You weren't shaking because of the cold. You're shaking because of the nerves, because you're in the water. And we actually had seen a couple fins, a couple sharks starting to circle that had been drawn in by the chumming of the water. And then they literally take a giant hook and they hook a big salmon head and they throw it out over the top of the cage that you're in and reel it in towards the cage, drag it up over the cage and out of the boat. And they keep doing that, throwing that out there. They also have this little black seal pad. It looks like, so from the under the water, it looks like, you know, the profile of a seal. So that goes out there. They're throwing that stuff out there. We do that for a little while. We haven't seen anything. And then all of a sudden, so there's a spotter at the top. And then what he does is he'll say, down to the left or down to the center.
Down in the middle. Get up.
And you're holding out of this little bar, and you have goggles, but you have no snorkel. You just hold your breath. So you pull under, you go underneath. And if they say to the left, you look to the left. You're holding your breath, and you're waiting for a great white shark to come out of the murky water, which they did, and it was absolutely amazing.
It's awfully easy. Stick your leg out.
This still just brings back so many memories. It is etched in my mind, even watching this video again. With the goggles, after a while, you get used to it. And you go underneath, and you kind of feels like you're watching on a big screen TV. Obviously, except that big screen TV could bite your arm off. But we were out there for several hours. It was a ton of fun. I would 100% do it again. Unfortunately, right now the tours, there haven't been as many sharks, apparently I've heard. But if you're there, it's worth digging into, because it is hands down one of the coolest things that we've ever done. The funny part is, once you climb out, it's only then that I realized anyways that the cage, which makes sense when you think about it, but the cage is hanging like 4 feet below the boat. So you turn around to get out and climb out, and you realize, oh, there's my entire lower half of my body is, in the cage, but hanging beneath the boat. There could be 6 great white sharks back there just licking their chops, and I would have had no idea. Luckily, I didn't realize that until we were getting out. But an amazing day, and we took the boat back to shore, packed up our stuff, and we were spending the night at the southern tip of South Africa, the southern tip of the continent of Africa, Cape Agulhas. So we're loading up and heading that way after an amazing morning swimming with great white sharks. So there you go. Day 1 and 2 of South Africa. I hope you enjoyed it. I mean, there's a little bit of everything. Baboons, penguins, sharks, beautiful roads. It was pretty awesome. So I hope you enjoyed that video. Coming out next is going to be episode 2, which is probably going to be days 3, 4, and 5, which are also completely different in a lot of ways. It was a beautiful, beautiful trip, and I hope you stick around to watch that. That will be coming out next. Thanks for watching.